Hello everyone, welcome to this submission of FE3. I am Miyakis.
My name is Xylon.
And this is a ROM hack of Fire Emblem 5 called Thracia 776 Overclocked. And I'm the one who made this.
It's a pretty interesting hack, as you'll find out when we get into it. The core premise of it, which I'm sure Miyakis will talk more about, is, you know, movement stars in Thracia? Now every single person has one.
Well, they have 20 of them specifically, so
Pretty specific.
It gives them a 100% chance of getting 2 actions per turn. With some very specific exceptions. I think enemies who rescue, capture your units can't get a second turn, but there you go.
Yep. Some very slight differences. So doing this one simple gameplay tweak has some pretty long-lasting ramifications. As we'll see today, Miyakis will be playing Chapter 8X.
Yes. This is done in post-commentary. This was recorded before and edited, and now we're just commenting over it in post. So this is who I will be bringing for Chapter 8X. Probably some interesting choices for people who are more used to Thracia. No Asbel.
The one big omission in that list is Asbel, as we'll find out in another little gameplay quirk, is actually deployed on the map. First is Prfs.
Oh, speaking of, dialogue has been considerably abridged. It's kinda humorously so at times.
Hestadar says he'll bash your frickin' head in.
Diplomacy has failed once again. There are a few gameplay hints sprinkled here and there, like Turn 7 before Tanya gets killed. We'll get more into that later. Anyways, let's not look too much at Asbel in there, just look at the beautiful Vigor stars of yes.
So, like Miyakis said earlier, what that means is each unit has 20 leadership stars, like he says, so everyone will get 2 actions per turn, both players and enemies.
As demonstrated right here. This lets you do fun things, like having Ronan, who's pretty bad, actually kill an enemy, which is pretty rare.
You get 4 attacks in 1 turn.
Yeah. Characters.
So these have some pretty long-lasting gameplay implications. Basically, meaning you can go twice as far in 1 turn. So what this does, I think, one of the reasons we wanted to show off 8X is because this chapter has a lot of thin corridors that units get a lot of bunched up in. But with this system of 2 actions per turn, it helps units flow through the map a lot faster.
Yeah, like Lithis right here, just being here to discover this guy. He can't really do fight on his own, so it's fine. Leaf can take care of it. Another thing that's been added, you might have noticed Lithis had a weird weapon in his inventory. The characters who already had Vigor / movement stars before this, since they've kinda lost this little advantage they have, they get perks based on how many movement stars they have. Lithis gets a unique-ish Prf? Prf. Yes, unique weapon. There you go. Ronan as well. His Prf is pretty good. He doesn't get it immediately, he gets it in this chapter. Another reason why I wanted to do 8X.
Yes, we'll be seeing it in this map, and it's very useful for this map.
Yes. Also, overlapping movement ranges. Much less of an issue here, because you get 2 turns. Fergus would have moved where Nana moved here, and like she moved out of the way first. By the way, yes. Getting to Lara and Asbel. So this is a small novelty that's not really in line with the whole Vigor thing, but it's possible in certain chapters. If one of your units gets captured and taken off the map, they'll appear as captured units in the next map. This was already...
I know specifically this happens in Chapter 11, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
In Vanilla Thracia?
Yeah, and this has been expanded to more chapters. Also, another thing that's been added for gameplay transparency is some hidden skills that the game gives to units for like plot reasons, so to help you out. Like here, Tanya is invincible for 15 turns, and then she loses it. That kind of stuff is now visible, so you can make more informed tactical decisions, like using Tanya's bait.
Yep, exactly. Some of you are probably familiar with Avail having the invincibility flag at the beginning of the game until chapter 5.
Yep.
And so now that skill is just visible.
Yeah, you can just check it out. It's called we called it Miracle Plus because that sounded appropriate. Yeah.
So yeah, like Mia said earlier, the reason Asbel and Laura are in those cells is because they were captured in Chapter 8. And the kind of tactical advantage to it that Mias has explained to me is they don't take a deployment slot to be deployed in this map now. So you get an extra thief and you get Asbel for free.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for free. I had to pull some very weird hoops to get Asbel captured in chapter...
That's not the easiest thing to do.
Chapter 8, yeah. He was fatigued, so that was... There's a stamina drink just suddenly randomly appeared in his inventory. I don't know where it came from. But, yeah. It's nice having both Lara and Lithis for this. It's nifty. You can do some pretty fucking... you can do some pretty funky things with captured unit stuff. There's some chapters where you can bring like a massive amount of units. Oh, by the way, here's Lithis' perf.
The Thief Blade. It's a pretty neat perf because not only is it a decent combat weapon, it also gives him the skill Luna, which is nice. I don't think it gets shown off in this chapter, but it's a nice thing to have. As well as, I think he'll show it later, you can use it as a lockpick.
Yep. You can't just run up to a door or chest and use it. Like you have to go into item and then use. But it works out. So by the way, because this is a system where every enemy gets 2 turns, enemy phases can be pretty scary, so you kind of want to kill things in one go. Or just make sure you can tank 2 rounds of combat, basically.
Yeah, this kind of playstyle I've found by playing it myself kind of disincentivizes turtling and drawing one enemy out at a time, because that doesn't really work in combination with every enemy getting 2 actions, and a lot of Thracia AI working to where a lot of enemies move in groups. So that's really dangerous if you draw one enemy on accident and then like 5 swarm you. It's very hard to keep some of your squishy units alive.
Yeah, especially because they're not just gonna stay at the place where you lured them, they're gonna keep going past your lines of defenses if you didn't form a wall or anything, so...
Exactly. You saw earlier when Dagdar was destroying the Room of Brigands how that's not as reliable of a situation since each brigand gets 2 actions instead of just 1.
Pretty much.
Some other gameplay quirks that I know I can think of off the top of my head is because the player moves twice as fast, all turn events have been toggled. So, for instance, you mentioned Tanya getting her invincibility flag. In Vanilla Thracia, it's removed on turn 15.
Yes.
In this hack, it's removed on turn 7.
Yes, basically. Because you're going twice as fast, the rest of the game is also going twice as fast, basically. Sometimes faster than that, because turns out you go faster than twice as fast with these settings. So if there is something that would normally happen on turn 30, it's gonna happen on turn 12 here, because at turn 15 you've pillaged the entire map already. There's nothing left.
Exactly. I know, like for instance, chapter 14, instead of defend for 5 turns, it's defend for 10 turns. In this hack, it's defend for 5 turns.
Yeah, pretty much. Turn 14 was kind of interesting because there's a lot of enemy reinforcements who ended up just getting the boot because they don't get to spawn. There's only like 3 turns of reinforcements now. Also, here's the Thief Blade in action.
Yep, so you can see you use it just like in a lockpick.
Yep. And
you also see the benefit of bringing Laura to this map, having an extra person with so many doors. Kind kind of speeds that along.
Definitely. Also, here's Nana being very great. Thanks.
I remember this was an argument for Tina if she has 5 movement stars in vanilla, and it's like, if she misses, she'll proc it and move again, and now that's for sure to happen.
Yeah.
I believe dialogue has only been changed up to 8x in the current release, correct?
Yes, indeed. It does take a little while to get all of these out, but I'll get there eventually. Anyways, this is Ronan's birth, the one that everyone's been clamoring for? Question mark. He gets a lot of magic, so he gets a magic bow, a shiny bow.
I think it's based off some of the other bows in like GBA FE that are magic based.
Actually, I think the first one was like in Radiant Dawn. But this one is pretty powerful, and it's effective against bandits because I was like, you're getting this in Chapter 8x, might as well see if you can use it against Gomez, and Gomez is
Let me tell you, it's
tough.
very helpful against Gomez, as I think we'll see later.
Yeah.
I think originally in the chest was just a pure water, so
yeah,
not really much of a loss there.
Yeah, most of the items haven't moved too much. But this one, I was like, this lonely chest in the garden, and it just has a pure water. What's the point? Let's put something good.
And then you can see that effective damage, Ronan one-shotting outlaws. Very useful for this chapter, very useful for chapter 12. It's a nice bow to have.
Yeah, chapter 12, chapter 15, and then it doesn't really help that much for a while, and then all the berserkers in endgame, Ronan will have a pretty good time with them.
Has a field there.
Yeah. Dagdar's been tanking everything, and he's like a brilliant strategy of just bring your own charm bot with you.
So there you can see, I think you saw Nana didn't get a movement star there when Dagdar dropped her, because capture and rescue doesn't quite play with movement stars.
Yeah.
Quite well.
Yeah, you can do some absolutely disgusting rescue strategies with this, but it's still a bit more limited because, again, you do lose a movement star if you get rescue drops like this.
For sure. I'm so excited to get Laura in 12x. I haven't gotten there yet in my playthrough, and I'm sure that just adds so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. 4 actions per turn, that's like a dream come true.
Now it's everyone's favorite ridiculously overpowered boss, Gomez.
Yeah,
he's invincible.
He's pretty tough. It's fine. We've got a very good Asbel we just freed. That's definitely going to take the killing shot on this.
Yeah, I noticed you even brought the Graph Caliber.
Yeah.
Asbel's inventory specifically, and used inventory specifically for this.
Definitely, but oh, Ronan, no! What are you doing? No!
Going on into the first. So I think, so Ronan originally had 2 movement stars, if I remember correctly. So what happens with some of the units who have more than 2 movement stars? What does he do?
Well, Ronan has 3, so he gets a perf weapon, a unique weapon. 2 stars get some kind of unique weapon or a skill with some kind of string. Some strings are attached. There's something that doesn't make it that great. And for units who have 5 stars, they just get Canto, because I wasn't really sure what I could give that was powerful enough at this point. I was like, it's fun.
Canto's really good.
It's pretty fun. You can have like Sarah heal somebody and just move away. Galzus kill somebody and then just move forward more.
Pretty nice.
It's pretty
There
fun.
you saw a pretty good example of how this hack can kind of mess you up if you're not careful. That archer 2-shot Lithis, and if you hit both times, we would have had to reset.
That was a pretty nasty surprise. I had completely forgotten about that guy.
Hiding there in the darkness.
Yeah. Anyways, that's chapter 8x completed in 7 turns.
Yeah, usually this chapter takes like 20 plus turns because it's so complex and you want to be careful, and you can see you can really lower your turn counts with this hack.
It definitely helps. Also, Tanya just lost her Miracle Plus, so there you go. That's about it for this chapter. I think this should give you a pretty good idea of how this plays out. the weird stuff that's happening in this hack.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly straightforward hack to understand. You know, everyone gets 2 actions per turn instead of 1, and I think overall it really does make the game pretty significantly different. You play it and approach it in a pretty different way than vanilla, I found at least.
Yeah, that was the intention. I mean, it's not exactly going to revolutionize Fire Emblem 5 hacking, but it's my starter project. I'm still working on it to tune up a few things. Chapter 5 was really painful, so I had to kind of revamp that one. Still in the process of doing that.
Yes. So in the future, you might be seeing some map alterations, which I think are really cool.
Yeah, and there's already a few map changes, but they're generally pretty minimal. It's just to help the flow of the game. But you'll see that whenever that releases.
So what's publicly available right now?
The patch can be downloaded on its thread on Xylon's Forest. Dialogue goes up to Chapter 8X. Everything else is playable. You'll just get the regular Fire Emblem 5 dialogue for it. And yeah, that's what's available.
I'm sure there will be a link to the Xylon's Forest thread in the description.
Yeah.
Where can people come find you if they want to find out more information on Thracia?
There's a link to the Fire Emblem 5 Hacking Hell Discord server, run by my co-host over here. And you can find the link to it in the opening post if you want to try out Overclocked, have any issues, or want to give feedback. That's the place to go. Or if you want to go chat about Thracia 776, that's what we all do on here. So there you go. I hope everyone has a good time playing this hack, and have a good FEE3, everyone.
Thanks for watching.